Welcome back to USS. Welcome to another replay code stream. As you can see between us, Oxford Oblongs taking on Amplification, and myself, Spectron, here to bring the call to you. And fresh here, we've got Xander, aka Kira. How you
Hello,
doing, my
everybody.
man?
I'm doing quite all right. Thank you very much. How about you?
Can't complain too much. Can't complain too much. Obviously, after this game as well, we are going to be taking a look at Abate versus Edinburgh, and of course, we are both denizens of glorious Scotland.
Indeed, bro.
Then that's going to be a pretty exciting one for both of us to take a look at. But first things first, Oxford versus Amplification. I don't know a lot about this game. I admit my focus is normally the teams who we're likely to play against in the week, and so as we get further and further down the ladder, there's a lot more unknowns begin to open up. Obviously, the level of play is going to be a little bit weaker, but in that also comes a lot of individuality, as teams are much more likely just to play some more unique composition. We'll call it that, right? But I mean, there's less focus on like what's like meta, what your micro comps are, and more just people pick heroes that are strong for them, run it down, and see who comes out on top, and that's always makes a pretty fun entertainment.
Very much so. They'll be playing their comfort picks, and I'm sure we'll see some a lot of, as you said, individuality out there. It should be a fun watch for this match.
That being said, I feel like, that's always something I say when I'm casting games like this, but for university teams specifically, everyone's like pretty individual anyway, Like we're on Ball, ICL are on like Has Winston, Oxford are on Arisa, Edinburgh, obviously we're going to see later, we've been playing a lot of Rotok, Abate, a lot of Reinhardt, so people, they've definitely got their niches, even at the highest level of USS.
Yeah, very much so. Excited. I'm very excited to watch the Scottish matchup. That'll be a lot of individuality there. A lot of star players, I'd say, in both those teams.
Yep, take a look at the rosters for this first game. Amplification got Storm, Eternal, Sapo, Sape, and Raven. Going to be rounding out the support line. Oxford Oblongs, their best hope that some of Rene's Overwatch abilities have kind of dribbled down into Will, who's going to be on the tank line. Jungkook and Reventon on the DPS, and One Fish and Drew going to be rounding out that backline. So those are the players we'll be seeing in lobby this game. I actually don't know which way it'll go. Obviously this game has happened previously, but as casters, we aren't told how these things end up going. So we're going to be just as surprised as the rest of you. Kings Row, obviously, going to be where we start. Band's going to be Tracer and Reinhardt. Generally, Kings Row a pretty standard map. Reinhardt can be played here, but still not very meta. When you're looking at teams who don't play the game literally 24/7, though, Ryan is going to be more effective. He's a little bit easier to get value out of than something like a Malga, something like a Hazard, that might be played at the higher levels a little bit more. Tracer ban is interesting. Maybe target ban, because Tracer's not normally considered too good here.
Yeah, I mean, Kings Row is a comfort pick. A lot of teams play Kings Row. We can't be too surprised that a Kings Row is coming out here, but I feel like a Tracer ban isn't too crazy. A lot of people kind of struggle to play into that, so it's been a strong hero for years. So not too surprised about that ban coming out.
I mean, at the end of the day, people are always just going to go Kings Row. It's
Of course.
I don't want to say boring, but it's boring. I've seen this map too much, man.
It's a no surprise. It's nothing too new, and it's you see it every day pretty much.
Defensive comp, D.Va, double flex by the looks of things, Genji, and I didn't see that last DPS actually going to be a Cassidy, so very poke heavy. You're not really looking for engage, just waiting for something to fall over to a nade, to a headshot. Oxford Oblongs, the Farah with the Mercy Pocket. You're literally just waiting for Eternal to land a direct and going off the back of that.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing the amplification just taking early, like, pigs here with the D.Va coming in. The Oxford Oblongs playing the Hazard, just kind of jumping in here a little bit. Oh my god. Yeah, the Oxford Oblongs here are starting off on attack or on defense, sorry, and they're taking up the higher position here with the Hazard. They're playing around tower here. The defense positions are kind of out of sorts here. They're almost swapping sides at this point. But Yeah, we got an early pick there. Will already taking out 2 of Oxford Oblong's players, the Hazard and Sojourn there. It's a decent defense here from Oblongs actually. Sorry, there was the switch on teams there, unfortunately. But yeah, the Oxford Oblongs defense side was looking quite strong there. Decent hold to start off with there.
Yeah. I mean, they just sit there, they play until they have an opportunity to engage. Will goes for it, finds a double kill. Obviously, Sapo back on the D.Va, plays in theory, the counter to the D.Va. See if that ends up marking Will, or whether he's going to be able to find value through it.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing, Amplification already back in there. They're taking point here now. They've got the window down. Jungkook does find Raven, though. Eternal does trade it back, though. Sapo does find Drew as well. Raven is back up, but the D.Va Bomb comes out and actually takes down Raven as well. It's looking like the Amplification are going to take this first point quite convincingly here. Will is now out of mech, as found. Sapo's taking a lot of space. Eternal is TPing back, and that will be the first point down to Amplification. Decently convincingly. It only took, 2 team fights there, I think.
Yeah, 2 times of asking. Not too bad at all. Oxford Oblongs do have a pretty decent idea for the recontest. Their Kitsu Blade is hard to match, but if Amplification charge into their Graviton Surge, their Death Blossom, then I'm not sure there's enough Matrix in the world to eat up all that damage. Eternal, go speak of the devil. Forced out so far. A bubble and a Wraith Form going to allow him to extricate himself, and Oxford Oblongs try and stop the cart.
Yeah. We see them, the Amplification already taken, decent space there. The Eternal pushing up, but unfortunately was pushed back by the rest of Oblongs. Oblongs do fall back. The Grav comes out, finds a lot in the backline there. Kit Rush is coming out to counter that. The Blade is also released with Kit Rush there.
Railgun.
But Eternal does counter that with really big Blossom, and Stormcluster did find Jungkook there with the rail charge. And it was a really convincing Amplification attack there. A lot of defensive ults coming out from Oblongs, but honestly, Amplification just kind of took that in their stride and just, send in their own stuff. And
maybe a late kill. Gonna manifest. Revention goes down. Stormcluster the one to deal that final blow with a railgun. Huge pick. Oxford Oblongs, I mean, they can recontest, but they'd rather just wait for their Cassidy, which is going to reduce this Streets phase to just 1 fight. Fantastic work from Sapo to manufacture that pick, but they spent a lot in that previous, using the Grav, using the Blossom, and it does mean the Oblongs now, if they get to play for this Nano boost, could have a bit of an ult advantage here.
Very much so. I mean, they're coming in like a very close fight here. They've got Nano is coming back in here with the Deadeye. Will is creating a lot of space. Deadeye is popped, but doesn't find anything. Clearly just uses some sort of reload there. But I mean, good touch, and it's been a very good retake there. Reventon, nice shot on the Storm Cluster there. Still holding Nano here, does not really need it. Eternal's TPing up top here. Couple good shots from Reventon there, but the Eternal is still up there. I think just chilling away. He's TP'd away now. But Jungkook does find Eternal though, chases him down. Very good pick there. The res does come out though, unfortunately for Oxford Oblongs. Yeah.
I mean, great kill on Stormcluster, entirely shutting down that overclock. Humongous value. But still, there's the window to take care of. Graviton Surge, close on the board again for Amplification. Sabo, I mean, surely knows that the fight plan is just going to be sending it straight in, so Oxford Oblongs going to have to split to stop that ultimate getting value.
Yeah. Jungkook does put a lot of pressure on Stormcluster, and Stormcluster has to fall off into the rest of Oblongs there. Reventon does clean it up a bit. Sorry. The Grav comes out on the side of Amplification. So does the window as well. Very good fight so far. Eternal does find the Oblong's tank. The Nano comes out, is put onto Reventon there, creating a lot of pressure here. Zarya's a lot of charge here, can just kind of keep putting that pressure on their front line. And Oblongs can't do much but just back off here. Reventon is a little bit out of position here, will probably be beamed down, but unfortunately it is kept up by Drew there.
Swings too wide, Lamp able to get him out. Deep TP from Eternal, maybe a Blossom could happen now.
We should hopefully see that Blossom here. We still have the Ramatra ult here, if any defensive needs are needed. A little bit of poke damage here. Drew falls off the map.
The Curie go for that?
I did not see how the Curie fell off there. Eternal does find Will. Eternal does find Jungkook as well. Eternal's been getting some really, really meaningful picks here. Just been kind of running in.
It's great work from the Reaper. It's a lot easier to find value when you don't have the cleanse to worry about. I'll put it that way. Amplification on the final stretch here. Graviton Surge available to them. Still tossed in.
It into their spawn. Finds 3 there. Does end up killing Drew. Reventon does find the Mercy, and a big Blossom from Jungkook finds 2 of them and gets rid of the Immortality Field. We see the rematch all popped out here as well. Unfortunately cannot create much stall. And the Curie Rush does come out, trying to contest that point a little bit longer. Eternal is just kind of sitting on site though, having to do a lot here to cap this point, but unfortunately he's going to have to back up, give up the point. Stormcluster does come back in though. It pops the Overclock with the Mercy here. Eternal comes back, finds 1 fish. The Immortality Field that was popped there. Lots of playing off by the sides here. Reventon is just playing a little bit of poke. But it is come back in, is found, unfortunately. And that seems to be the way. Nope, Jungkook does come in. Staggers a little bit, but they unfortunately can't hold the point for too long. And the first point goes the way of Amplification.
It takes them a little while, but at the end of the day, they are able to cap with just under a minute. At the end of the day, Oblongs, they have to be able to pat themselves on the back just a little bit. They don't have to worry about going into extra innings, only having to worry about a third, right? But you'd still rather they didn't cap Kings Row at all, let alone with a pretty healthy Timex still. So I don't think you're too mad about that if you're either roster. Oxford Oblongs that will have to figure out how to come back from somewhat behind. For Amplification, it feels like it's been mostly the Sapo and Eternals show, with some moments from Stormcluster as well. This Zarya is getting away with altogether way too much. Yeah. And so if I were Oxford, I'd probably be thinking about how to keep it honest, right? Maybe some Pharah rockets. Just chunking that HP down would be enough to stop these super wide swings. Yeah. Maybe Reaper even would work out, but see exactly what the attackers want to play towards as the defenders on exactly the same type of shebang. Will, I think it's been very quiet so far on the Ramasha. Hopefully he finds his voice soon.
Very much so. He hasn't shown too much, unfortunately, but hopefully on this attack side he will show himself a little bit more and will blossom a little bit. Some flourishing moments from him. Reventon does stay on the. It does pick the Widow, takes a 1 shot, and unfortunately switches off as per usual. That's quite normal. Tradition, really. Does switch to the Ashe though, so it's still on that poke comp. All ones are playing behind Pillar right now. Eternal is chunked down a lot, but uses Wraith to get back out. Really big stun there from Jungkook. Stormcluster finds Reventon there, which is a decent pick. They've been chunking them down, chunking Amplification down big time. Stormcluster finds a 2nd pick there on the side of Drew, but unfortunately, the Zarya is just way too strong, just pushing Oblongs all the way back into their spawn. Stormcluster and Eternal finding 2 there, just pushing them all the way back, and they're just gonna have to reset off that, just take a new fight.
Yeah, and because they stagger those deaths out somewhat, it's gonna take a little while before they are all back in the fight. Maybe an additional, 10-20 seconds of bank burn that maybe they just didn't have to, but they'll be able to scrap to the plate once again, close to the Nano Boost, close to the Bob. Either of these could be a fight win.
Stormcluster is it was trying to take a very, very deep push there, but is unfortunately punished. Don't think he was really expecting to see 3 of Oblong's players in Hotel there, but was unfortunately met with it. Reventon does pop. Ooh, very nice shots from Jungkook there, finding Eternal. Reventon did pop Bob there, did find a pick. And it looks like Oblongs, unless are going to take the. Yep, they're going to take this first point. The Graviton Surge does get popped. Finds Jungkook. 1 fish is found. Will gets 2 here. That's what we're looking for in the first side. The Mercy is being pushed back and will be found, and that is still 2. There we go. That was Oblongs taking that point there.
Yeah, point unlocked. Obviously, a smaller time bank than what their opponents had, but they are going to be going into this next fight with a pretty significant checkmark lead, right? Annihilation Rally, Deadeye. It's a lot to be scared of, unless Stormcluster is able to get some headshots going, unless Eternal is able to get a Blossom to feed, even Reclaimer. I mean, we'll have to see a bit of a miracle manifest from him. On the corner is Will, trying to force the space and actually succeeding. Amplification giving a lot of respect at the moment.
There was a lot of chunk damage there coming from just holding down that one angle. Is going in here with transformation here. Sapo is getting chunked down and is found. Eternal does, however, go in, finds one with the Blossom. Stormcluster also finds Will. However, Sapo is back up now with that Mercy res. And that was a very well, clean fight. Eternal is very deep here, is chunked, but however, can get out with Wraith. And a very, very good defense from Amplification there. They really did just kind of... Yeah, they played it back a little bit, played it safe, got right back up to health, and then just really brought it all back to Oblongs there.
Oh, right into the window. Raven pops it at just the perfect time. Jungkook, Deadeye active as Will's Annihilation that maybe was going to be the primary threat. Revention with the Bob finds 2 kills, finds the corner. Amplification, only of 3 remaining members. Is there a chance for them to manifest a trade? It does not seem like it. They're going to touch, sure, but 3 members of the Oblongs on the payload is going to make a proper recontest, all but an impossibility, which is a shame, right? Because an OC into the Graviton Surge could be brutal.
Stormcluster is honestly really big here. It's just found 3. Sapo does obviously get 1 there. Stormcluster finds 4. That was a really, really big from Amplification there. Really, really good touch. I wasn't really expecting them to come back and, touch and then especially win the fight. I really kind of thought Oblongs was just going to fully take that point there with a really big time lead there. But no, Amplification came back in. Stormcluster had a really, really big moment there, especially with the, the grab came in. Just all-around thing. Remington does find an opening pick on the Mercy, which is a really nice pick there. Will takes down the Immortality Field and takes down Sapo and Stormcluster. That was a big moment for Will there. Haven't seen too much of that, but this attack side he has, as we said, we were hoping to see him flourish a little bit more on the attack side, and it's quite clear that he has. He has had a good few moments here. Really helped the team win a good few fights.
Remember, goal here for Oblongs is to finish with a similar time bank. If they want to do it, they'll need to win these next 2 fights in pretty simple, pretty dominant fashion. So far, absolutely a possibility. They don't have the Bob, but it's very, very close. Remember exactly how scary Revention's last one was.
Oblongs have, the rally's popped, and so is the Nano here. They have a lot of ults to play with. It's looking like a very big fight here. Will takes down Sapo. The Overclock is popped. Takes down Drew. Jungkook finds Raven. Will finds Eternal on that Death Blossom there. Good punish. Will, again, there you go. I mean, we've seen Will just really pop out here and just kind of show himself and show what he actually means on the rematch right here. And really, really good fight there. Eternal does TP in, but unfortunately is, found immediately. And there was really not much that Amplification could do there. Will was just kind of going for it there. I don't see. He was on fire. He was really feeling it.
Playing super proactively on that Ramatcha, playing for Brawl very often against the Zarya, recognizing that though the Zarya does a lot of damage, her actual survivability isn't all that high. You force survival, you start a walk, and she's going to fall over, 9 times out of 10. So, working out super well for Will there. That second round of play, note the extra 34 seconds of time on the bank. Going to mean that the momentum has now most definitely shifted. It is now the Oblongs, the ones in the driver's seat. I think Will has been fantastic. We all kind of agree with that. I think Revention has been, I feel like, the second, but a little bit more out of Jungkook. I feel would really cement Oxford in the lead.
Yeah, we haven't seen too much from Jungkook, a little bit. We've had a couple moments here and there, but, definitely a little bit more on this defense side. We see the Mei coming out here. They're playing for a very, very brawly comp for defense here. Hoping to just stall them out for as long as possible. Maybe probably use that Mei wall to find a couple picks, especially if Eternal TP's in.
I mean, what you probably expect here is people just to shoot from high grounds and from main for as long as humanly possible, and then you have walk-ons if people decide to walk through without checking Jungkook. You see, very obviously sitting here with the Mei wall out, purely looking for an isolation onto Sapo. First fight will probably just have a dead Zarya or anybody else who walks through the choke unaware.
Stormcluster is, the first target there. He walks straight through that and is caught out by the Mei wall. Will does clean him up, but is unfortunately rezzed. We've seen a lot of rezzes come out here. But, it's a safe position for the Mercy. She can't be punished too hard there. Zarya is pushing up here. Eternal is also disrespecting the Mei wall, pushing through. Zarya is really, really weak here. Immortality, I feel, has to come out to keep her up. But she's fully back up to health here. But they're gonna have to respect the amount of damage that is coming through from Oblongs here.
Yeah. I mean, no Ana, though, means you have no sustainability for the rest of the fight. This is going to be an uphill battle at the best of times, and they're just going to roll all the way down. Jungkook and Drew dispatched, and a hold, or a cap, rather, from Amplification in overtime with only a minute on the bank. This is incredibly successful of them. Already doing more than you could reasonably expect. And I think it's off the back of Sepo on the Zarya still just charges up, builds up the energy, and just walks it. And it works out so well. Drew, one fish making swaps over to the Kiri Lucio Oblongs, probably. Going to play for DPS ults first. Amplification have to be on the backline.
Yeah, we did see that they played a little bit safe, built up that Zarya charge so they could, you know, come in and just, you know, find that first point. But Jungkook does find an initial pick onto Storm Cluster there, but Sapo does return and, you know, punishes the Mei there. Overclock is brought out here, hoping to just keep pushing Oblong's back. Ramatra ult does find its way in this fight here. They're having to be, Application is having to be pushed all the way back here. They're going to have to just keep... I mean, Storm Cluster really big there.
Oh my
just
lord.
The overclock just... My god. I don't know the overclocks are, but the rail charge
there,
just hitting all the shots.
We've seen a couple Storm Cluster multi-kills, it feels like, in this game. This time, exposed the kill feed with a 4-piece, I'm not much mistaken. Oblongs making more adaptations. Revention to the bash, and now they really want to take care of Sapo. Thankfully, this time, with the Blizzard, playing into a comp with no speed, no cleanses, really, it could be absolutely devastating.
They were looking to just try and, you know, put as much damage into Amplification as possible to really just gun him down. Drew does find Eternal, which is very nice there. That's a big pick for them. Mei ult does come out. Drew finds Scythe as well. The Immortality is gone here. Mei finds Storm Cluster there. Will, you know, that was a really, honestly, decent fight. Everything just kind of came out there at the end for Oblongs.
Yeah, that it did. But at the end of the day, it was a little bit too little, too late, right? At least for your odds in this map, statistically speaking. That's a good amount of push that your opponents were able to get off the back of their minute. Oblongs, a minute and a half in which to eclipse it. So, still doable. On paper, they still do technically have an advantage, but the expectation is that in 2 minutes, you're going to get 2 fights. So Oblongs can maybe squeak them through, maybe have ults in the last, 10 seconds of the game. But it's going to be very, very awkward for timing. They're going to need to put a similar pace up to their opposition and then use the extra time as a buffer if they want to be taking map number 1 here.
Yeah. Obviously, we see the Revenant back onto the Widow there. Oh, is switching between Hanzo and Widow. We'll stay on the Widow. We'll probably, as we see, as always, probably take that first shot and then swap back to someone else. Maybe it could be the Hanzo. We might see a swap to a Hanzo there, I think. I hope. That'll be quite fun to see. But yeah, all Oblongs are gonna have to, bring their best here. If they wanna, we see Eternal on the Bastion here. They're just gonna try and full hold as best as they can and just we've got a pre-charged rail there with the
Zone slides.
Perk. Those
sneaky as hell.
Show
off spawn, doesn't connect.
One fish is taking a lot of damage to begin with, but it will just get healed right back up. They're a bit too far back to find too much value out of that damage, but it's all ult charge at the end of the day. Reventon is already playing through Hotel here. Jungkook TP's in, does find Storm Cluster. Revington just on the backline there. Has to pop Immortality Field to keep the Baptiste up. Is a really big, player in the sustain there. Sapo does fall. Will just fully pushing through, disrespecting everything that Amplification is throwing out there. Raven is found. Will has been really, really big on this attack Ramatra. He's just been really, really, just pushing through everything and just brawling out as much as he can. And honestly, I mean, that's what you kind of have to do on Ramatra here. Just have to disrespect everything.
Seems like neither of these teams have particularly showed much ability on the defense, unfortunately. Attacking has been where it's at. About 2 fights going to be needed from the Oblongs now. They've definitely got their foot in the door, but with only 30 seconds left to go, they want to get this next one started soon, otherwise they won't have respawns to play. Jungkook, great job forcing the soldier off the angle, but plenty more work left to do.
His chunk down is going to have to just drop off here, but Sapo does switch the Ramatra here and is going to just, bring out the Ramatra ball entirely on both sides here. They're just trading blows on street here, playing both corners, just trying to keep each other at bay as much as possible. The Nano does come out onto the Reaper, will hit a Blossom here, finds 2 there. Remington
Oh,
cleans up instead. Very, very nice. That was a big play from both One Fish and Jungkook there. Very, very good, nice combo. There's, even with the Immortality field there, you just can't really, you can't really sustain against a Nanoed Blossom. And it does
of
not seem
course.
that Amplification can touch at all.
As you see there, no chance for a recontest to come through. It just too big a fight. Keeping 3 people on the cart worked out super, super well. So, want to know that to the Oblongs, if I'm not much mistaken. Well played from them. Obviously, we were saying through the cast, but it's worth reiterating. Will was probably the main driving factor there. The DPS, they're able to throw their hats in the ring for sure as well. Of course, this is a first of 2, a best of 3, so still more maps left to go. This one is not over just yet, even though it was an 8-point Kings Row. It took forever. It's kind of crazy. See exactly when we'll be ready to go into the next map, where we'll also find out the map selection. So we'll keep you posted for that. But I don't know, for you, Xander, who do you think your standout player was?
At the start, it definitely was Sapo. That Zarya was really, really big. But come the side swap, Will really, really just came out of a shell almost. The defense, we didn't really see much of him at all. But the second he came out on attack with that Ramatra, he really just kept going. He was on fire. He was just he was playing to his strengths. As soon as he got that brawl out, he was able to just push everyone through and just kind of keep taking space over and over again. But I mean, we did see a lot from Jungkook and I've already forgotten the name of
It
the
happens, bro. You get used to it.
Sojourn on amplification. But yeah, both Sojourns are having really good moments as well. Lots of multi kills from both. A lot of good shots from both DPS players as well. We had some big bulbs in there too from Reventon. Very, very big, very big value that he was finding on Ash with ults. But it was a very close series, very tight series. Both teams kind of having star moments throughout both like sides. But as you said, the defense side for both teams wasn't exactly the best, so they needed to find just as much strength as they could in their attack halves and just push as far as they can.
So you can see, next map has been fairly punched in for us. Gonna be Elite Zhang Tower. We are playing the most boring standard maps today. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. We played these 2 maps twice last tournament day for us. So yeah, fair enough. Definitely a reason we see him played. The bans very similar actually, being a Ramatra and a Symmetra. Ram essentially Ryan but with a gun. Symmetra particularly strong on Li Jiang. The value you can get out of that teleporter is incredibly high, especially going towards point on both Gardens and Night Market.
I mean, we can't be too surprised about the Ramatra ban there. Clearly just trying to. I'm assuming that is a ban from amplification. They're clearly just trying to shut out Will on the Ramatra. They saw the strengths that Ramatra was showing there, so they just had to clearly shut Will out there, which is fully respectable. I think target banning is very, very fair there. But
Target banning's the
King's
strat.
yeah,
If you're playing
very,
against
very,
Midge, you're not going to leave Roadhog on the field. It's
absolutely
just
not.
business. It says it is as simple as that. If you know what your enemy team is going to play, just get rid of it. Not every ban has to be like big macro ban. Can just be the hero who's annoying you. But if you can make it both, well then Bob's your uncle, and then you're kind of chilling.
Very much so.
I feel like in my experience at the least, the teams whose bans have been most impressive has definitely been the Oblong's sister team, the Omnics. Really likes what they did with it. At least for us, I feel like our team is maybe even quite bearable, but we haven't really struggled with anybody else taking a hero away from us so far. So maybe some of those, some of the knowledge, drips down.
Yeah, I'd assume they have some, interconnections there, like coaching sessions. They might have a little bit of talking between teams there. But we see the Sapo. He was on the, what was he on to begin with? He was on Reinhardt, I think, and he swapped off to Hazard here. Early bump off the map there, but it's just a Winston. He can just jump back on there. But Reventon is already TP'd onto point there, trying to take some early point control. Storm Cluster does find an early pick onto Jungkook, though. Winston diving in already, looking to create some issues in the backline for amplification there. but unfortunately is already pushed back, and Stormcluster and Eternal just kind of cleaning up there. Stormcluster finds the Mercy at the end there, and just, you know, a very quick fight from Application there.
I mean, you'll note already that it's Drew now on the tank, and Will piloting that Kiriko. Tries one fight on the Winston, decides it's no bueno, over to the Wrecking Ball, and not a pick I mind whatsoever, but tricky to pull off. We'll see if Will's got the chops.
Hopefully he does. We would like to see some, you know, big plays from both teams. Jungkook does find a nice load of sticks onto the Kiriko there, but unfortunately Suzu does just clear it out. So there's no real problems there. Oxford Oblongs are playing back way off point here. And Sappho's Stormcluster slides in, does chunk Reventon down a lot, finds the end. Poor Mercy has just been shut out from going back.
What a
that was
stagger.
very unfortunate. Good stagger though, as you said there.
Yeah, you're not going to be particularly happy about that if you're the Mercy over the Oblongs. You're close to Valk at the least, but Amplification have a lead in basically every checkmark that matters. Drew can stay on the point almost indefinitely, but it doesn't matter if he's not actually gaining percentage. Has ult, the downport connects onto 3, I believe. Will dead, more available 2. That is crazy value from the one ultimate, and I don't think there's anything else the rest of the Oblongs can do. Maybe Drill can sneak this back cap, but it seems unlikely, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, they did get back to point just in time Amplification, so Drew's back cap did not find too much value. Jungkook does find Stormcluster though. Does get rezzed. I feel like I'm like a broken record saying that. Somebody finds a pick. Oh, the res is back out already, and they're back. But
that's most utility.
But yeah, Oxford Oblongs just haven't found too much value coming into these fights here. Drew trying the back out, but unfortunately, as we saw, it didn't really work. The Echo ult does come out, trying to copy the hazard there. Oh, a nice, you know, switch up onto the Echo there and find value. Kiriwash comes out the side of Amplification here. Just looking to clean up these last few stragglers onto the point here. We've got a 4-to-1 contestation onto point the side of Amplification. The Minefield does come out, and so does the Farah Barrage. It's just not been too much. Here comes another downpour just to clean up the last hamster that has just been on point the entire time. Very convincing, you know.
Yeah, it seems like Oblongs don't really know how to position really effectively on this map. It feels some of these walk-ups, they're getting kind of blown up by Amplification, who've got the advantage of, you know, essentially standing there first. Remember, all started off as well with Jungkook getting first picked on Cassidy in that first fight. Amplification able to roll that momentum into a point win. Still, one more going to be needed to take the map, bring us to 1-1 in the series. Oxford Oblongs here on Night Market have a chance to even the table, so to speak, right? Seems to have made another compositional change. Drew now on the Zarya. See if that helps against Sabo, any?
Well, you know, if you can, you know, fight fire with fire, you know? The Zarya is that strong from the, you know, we've seen the Zarya was that strong on the Application side in King's Row, you know? Hopefully Drew will be able to, you know, show himself like Sapo did on King's Row. Jungkook does TP and gets chunked big time, has to Wraith back out. Sapo dives in, finds really big damage onto Reventon, and Eternal is able to finish him off as he slides back into his team. I just kind of have to back off here a little bit and, you know, respect the space that Amplification have taken. It's a really big hazard plays here. You know, that him being able to dive in and just, you know, hit him down for damage. Unfortunate miss on the leap there though, and Jungkook is able to just take so much of Sapo's life, and Will is able to, you know, find the last remaining bit of health that Sapo have. Reventon, you know, finds the Farah, but the Farah is back with the res. There was no punish on the Mercy resing there though, so she's back up, and oh, we were seeing.
Nice try.
Okay, Reventon does, you know, finish him off though. Unfortunately, I think the Mercy just had to back off and leave. Unfortunately, couldn't stick around for too long. So Eternal just didn't have much support there and was able to be picked off by Reventon in the end.
Indeed. Sapo working through the outside of the point with a catch onto Ilwin, opening. Amplification now 5v4. Surely this point is theirs to take once again.
Yeah, we've seen really big walls and leaps from Sapo there.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, misses most shots onto Reventon there and cannot finish him off. And Reventon instead is able to get him. One fish finds Eternal. Reventon is also showing his face here, getting Scythe. Jungkook TPing in and cleaning up the last remaining stragglers of amplification there. It was a very nice, clean fight from Oblongs there.
Yeah, I mean, the shoe seems to be under the foot now, right? Where it's Oblongs the ones pretty firmly in the driver's seat, amplification the ones trying to figure out what exactly to do about it. Close on most of their check marks. I would heavily recommend a slow fight till you build up to your surge of ultimates, then dumping them once the Oblongs are pretty aware that you've got all that firepower.
I mean, we are seeing that. There you go. That's the 4th ult built for amplification here. Jungkook does come in with the Death Blossom, finds Raven there, which is a very nice. Unfortunately, almost got jumped off the map there. Does I did not see that. Reventon coming in with a 3K Deadeye there. I did not even hear the ult, if I'm being honest. I did not know that was there. Very, very big ult from Reventon there.
Well, of course, finds value.
Yeah, we did use 3 ults there. All Oblongs using 3 ults there. Deadeye, Nano, and the Death Blossom.
Last fight territory.
Yeah. We have Downpour coming in. Overclock used as well. But Jungkook does shut down the Overclock. Reventon, one fish as well, finding pick onto the... You know what? Yeah. Very clean fight there. I mean, Oblongs just really, came back and just... They just won that. They found had a lot of individuality there, kind of finding their own picks, and just picked off everyone kind of one by one. There was a little bit of spacing issues there, I think.
I mean, to decide the victor, therefore, we have to go to Control Center. Probably one of the brawly comps in the game, and so maybe Sapo now with that Reinhardt back allows we'll be able to get something going with the Crusader. Obviously, both teams not playing a particularly hard brawl backline. No Lucio break, no Juno break. Anything that you really would have seen in the past. Instead, double flex going to be finishing it out combined with the Mercy and the Baptiste that we started with. Amplification, if Sapo can get involved, we'll probably just be winning that. If not, Oxford Oblongs, I assume, will be able to take the map.
Yeah, we see Sapo there come in, charging up immediately and taking a lot of space to begin with, but Jungkook did push up immediately, taking a decent bit of health off of Sapo to push him back, but having to fall back into main there. Sapo just pushing up, taking as much space as possible here. Oblongs going back around a really big pin onto Jungkook there. Very nice charge into there, taking off. One of the probably the biggest threats we've seen from Oblongs here is the Jungkook so far. Eternal is pushing around into the backline to pressure the backline a lot. Is losing a lot of HP, but can't wraith back out, back to the safety of his Reinhardt. Scythe is playing off to the side here. Reventon taking some picks and pokes off at the side here. Eternal is chunked down, can wraith back out though, so there's unfortunately no picks made for Oblongs in this fight so far. The window is brought out. Sapo is very low HP, but the window is there to amplify damage, and fair enough. There's not much value in that Deadeye there. Sapo chunking down Reventon big time and is able to find Reventon. However, Will and Drew were able to just clean up on that Reinhardt. The questionable Blossom there, maybe trying to find that lifesteal, but unfortunately could not find enough damage to sustain himself there. Stormcluster and Raven find both of Oblong's supports there. Drew falls to the Baptiste on Oblong's side. Missed this charge into the wall.
Yeah, and 65% is kind of this last fight territory almost mark, right? Oxford Oblongs don't have many more times of asking and walk into the Blossom and the Shatter both. One has to imagine that map number 3 might just be a Shatter and a fat Blossom away. Graviton from Drew has to be huge.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing that, this could just go the way of amplification. We could be going to a 3rd map here, unless Oblongs can find some value out of both support ults. And Shatter comes out, finding 2, cannot find the who was that? I didn't see who that actually was.
Nano boost on the Kiriko?
I think it was.
Okay. That's strange, but the one shot from Will comes through Stormcluster, gets absolutely folded. The Blossom just gets very little. Kitsune now out of Will, who wants to keep the pressure high, but the flip already through. He's going to keep swinging with it, but the damage has already been done. Oxford Oblongs able to delay execution in this series and actually start building the runway to a victory. Got that Graviton Surge as well, a tool to make it closer.
We saw like really big shots come out from Will there. Very nice Curie knives. I mean, creating a lot of damage and a lot of pressure on the amplification. They just had to kind of back off and give up point if they want to win. The Graviton comes out a bit early here. Immortality Field does come down and delays the inevitable by a little bit. But there's just so much damage on the side of Oblongs with the Zarya right clicks and the Junkrat nades. You know, there's just not much you can do to sustain through all that damage. But you know, it's another fight the way of Oblongs, creating more and more of a giving themselves more percentage on the point there.
And what it also does is builds back into the DPS ults of Octave Oblong. So now you're like, well, you know, we got the grab fight out of the way. Now you're looking to Blossom and Tyre. Tyre active, see how it goes.
The Tyre finds
my
three
God.
there. I was not too sure. I thought it was only going to get two there, but it finds the third. But very big. It gets both supports and on the DPS. Drew does get the pick onto Sapo there. And, you know, you can't do too much but just run away there. Jungkook is playing forward here. Maybe looking for a very deep Blossom here, potentially. I feel like we might see a Death Blossom coming out here. He's looking for it, but Eternal does Wraith in behind him. Has to, you know, he just has to, Jungkook just has to fall off the angle here and come back to his team. Otherwise, he's just going to get punished and out of position. I think, yep, there it is. The Death Blossom comes through, shuts down the overclock, if I'm not mistaken. It does. Reventon does find Raven. Drew is just been countering the tank there. I think I've seen Drew just kill Sapo almost every single time here. Jungkook finds the last onto Scythe, and I just don't think there's going to be another touch here. And that was a very strong... Yeah, it was a very, very strong last fight there for Oblongs, no? You know, it was a very close control point there up until the very end, where it just seemed that Oblongs won that fight to take point for the first time. And they just kept snowballing the momentum there, just kept pushing forward. The grab at the start, I mean, they had a really good, you know, alt econ there the entire way through. The grab came out, then it was the Tyre, then the Blossom came out towards the end just to really like put the nail in the coffin for amplification there.
Absolutely. I mean, it feels like almost a flip side of the map number 1, right? Where Oxford Oblongs, I mean, in fact, both teams, but especially the Oblongs, their defense was really quite locked in, able to bring it all the way from, you know, 0 to 100. The attacks maybe not being what really cut the gravy. So, well played from them. Congratulations to their win. But we're going to disappear for a little bit while we set up our second game. So we're going to vanish for 10 minutes or so. When we're back, Abate versus Edinburgh. You don't want to miss this.
Very exciting match coming up.
We are back here for our second game of the day. Obviously, finished that first one with an Oxford Oblongs 2-0. Now we've got Evil Jonker taking on Crazy Raccoon. That is Edinburgh and Abate for those who aren't in the know like us. What's up? Name still Spectrion. That still Kiowa. And now all the cool people in the lobby have a Scotland affiliation. It's kind of
Indeed, they
neat.
do. Very much so. I cannot wait to talk about this game because these are, I would say these are my two favorite teams. No biased.
Mm.
Two of my favorite teams. I'm not gonna get into that though. But two of my favorite teams, I'd say.
Controversial.
No bias for the nation affiliation with both these teams, but
Mm.
they're both very very high skill teams. They're top at the very top, like super
Mm.
super high up in the standings.
I mean, in the
So it should be
official
really good.
Reclaimer ranking, they're kind of
Mm,
listed as fourth and fifth, very
mm,
arguably, as to where they
yeah.
are.
Very important. Very important tier list there.
Mm. I mean, in terms of the rosters, obviously we've got Azo and Purple Elder as well returning from the last year. Purple, of course, personal enemy of my main, being slightly higher tier than me in the main support tier list, which I've never forgiven her for. Azo, one of the best tanks in NSC. Elder strong on the Genji and Ash, and Sensei, the new players brought in to replace who they had previously. He who should not be named. Crazy Raccoon, the same roster they've always had. Realistically, T90
Mm.
is going to stupid places to play, but he's strong on the hit scan. Unknown's Tracer is fantastic. Other heroes less good. Matt's strong on the Rhine. Fire strong on the Twitter.
Very much so. But I mean, Crazy Raccoon, they've been a strong team. They play together a lot. I'm not too sure about the play styles of or the habits of Evil Junkler, but Crazy Raccoon is a very 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 strong team that I've seen quite a lot. So I'm very excited to be able to actually talk about their games as they play. Very excited to see how this one goes.
So what can we expect to see then from either of these teams realistically? Obviously, you said you're a little bit more familiar with Abate.
Mm.
What are they often on?
What are they often on? I mean, obviously, as you said earlier, the match Reinhardt is quite often
Powerful.
powerful. It's good. Um, T9E, we've seen him on the Sojourn for so long. I'd be quite surprised if he's not still on Sojourn.
The only time I've seen him not on
Unknown
Soldier's when he picked
always.
Widowmaker.
Yeah, Unknown is the Tracer as we all know, but we're seeing Atlas coming in for the first map here. Ban Zarya and Genji. Do you have anything to say about that?
Both kind of weird bands. I don't think
Mm,
either of these tanks are playing a lot of Zarya. Azo, famously known as the Queen player, recently been playing a lot of Roadhog.
mm,
Mats, starting on the Malga, Unknown the Tracer.
mhm.
Simps, TP means there's further positioning from Ash, and for positioning taken from Crazy Raccoon. They're not finding the value from the shout they maybe wanted. Azo re-aggressing, using his own to find humongous value. Cleanse expired, and Fire goes exactly the same way. Seems like there's a chance for a trade as Matt slams his way back in, but Sensei dispatches first fight to Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very, very quick fight. I mean, the shout came in from Azo there, and he just went straight for it, pushed up very, very quickly, and took a lot of fights, a lot of space, lots of damage going in there as well. And there wasn't too much that Crazy could have done against that, if I'm being truthful.
Indeed. Oh, Elder double taps, and Sam deals the final instant of damage, and Crazy back in the fight now on the Queen Mirror, of course. And Sam close to Kitsune Rush. That could be significant lead above Sensei if they want to play slow, but I don't think that's in either of these teams' natures. Pushing in deep, recall out from unknown. Note how nobody's dropping towards the point. It keeps ticking up in favor of Evil Junker, while Crazy Raccoon attempt to press their advantage. Turbo was low. Kitsune Rush is out for Evil Junker first, and T90 is caught unawares. Oh, a sliver of HP. But Fire is going to survive on. And across the map, it seems like mostly Crazy Raccoon are just trying to survive more than anything else. Their own Kitsune Rush now on the point. The target priority surely should be Purple, who does drop low. The kills, though, not manifesting. The chase is dogged. And eventually, herself as well as Elder will fall. And even though there's a trade from Fire, Azo, Ajaxes that rampage.
That was a very unfortunate. I wouldn't assume a misclick there. I highly doubt a misclick there, but clearly just misjudged how much HP he had and just couldn't pop off the rampage in time. But yeah, it was a very very scrappy fight for a long while there. But Crazy Raccoon was able to see it off in the end and hopefully we'll see a lot more strong stuff coming from Matt's Junk Queen here.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have his own Rampage online here. Obviously, Purple's got that sound barrier for it. Big axe on the opposing Queen. T90 goes down to Azus. However, the Deadeye of Elder zones the high ground, and in an attempt to drop, it's able to soften up Unknown somewhat. Matt's Rampage connects onto multiple, but so too does the sound barrier. The advantage in that fight relatively minimal. Eventually dispatched, and especially with the wall from Ash, it's Evil Junkler who will be taking control of the point.
We did see that Unknown uses Pulse Bomb, but unfortunately the Kirisuzu was still up, so it was completely negated there. But no, we did see some very strong fights there from the side of Abra's Raccoon, but unfortunately fell in the end to Junkler. And
so, they are touching, actually. Big is Unknown, who's got his first toe on. Matt's the second, but absolutely evaporated. Too much damage poured into the Junker Queen, and with Unknown falling to the 6th shooter, Evil Junkler going to be taking that first point in relatively uncontested manner. Heading into this next fight, though, I mean, we'll have to see exactly what they've got in store for us.
Yeah, I mean, Evil Junkler, I mean, you know, they're all very, very strong players. We've seen, you know, highlights from each player almost in the consistent fights there. So, I'd quite like to see there. The ults are coming in the side of Evil Junkler, a couple there, Curie and Junker Queen. But Abra's Raccoon have a couple ults to counter that.
Overclock active from T90 as the Beat from Fire expires. They're swinging so damn deep with it, and eventually, though it isn't the overclock that deals the damage, it forces Sensei and Elder into Unknown. Mats with a third Evil Junkler, this time pretty summarily taken care of, and another Aether Rampage. I mean, it's damage, sure, but it does not net them the fight.
That was a really big, you know, the sound barrier from Abra's Raccoon allowed a lot of space for Abra's Raccoon to take. Unknown was very, very strong in the Tracer there. Found 2 picks early in the fight, but you know, Azo did create a little bit of damage, but unfortunately couldn't find too much, and you know, couldn't sustain himself from the amount of damage Abra's Raccoon was giving out there.
Yeah, 5-man rotate to Cliffside, wanting to take the superior shooting angles there. Unknown going to be tempted to pulse, but knowing that cleanse is still active, can't quite release it. T90 goes down to Azo. Kitsune rush into Mats is mirrored out, and Purple traded no more Abatabi in the roster just yet. Mats maybe looking for a rampage here, but another Ajax. The pulse goes straight into the cleanse, and it seems like all's fair and lovers war here as Evil Junkler find the flip at 69%.
Nice. But no, I mean, yeah, we saw some very, very hits there. Unfortunately, again, another, you know, misused rampage. Thought he could find a lot more value, Mats, on that rampage, but you know, just like Azo, couldn't unfortunately sustain himself in the amount of damage that the other team was giving out. Hopefully, we'll see some, you know, some more better plays from Abra's Raccoon in this fight.
See how it works out, as they are pretty skint for the most part. Ash posts the wall, and if that ultimate comes online, I imagine there's not much they can do. No Purple, though. Mats' aggression is brutal. 3 kills from the Queen. T90 might go down to the bleed from Aza, but there's not much one man can do. I might be cooked here as he just tries to live, tries to hang on to life, but Mats eventually takes care of him too. Humongous from the Abate tank player.
Yeah, that was a really, really strong showing from Mats there. Unfortunately, I haven't seen too much of him throughout the game, but there, that was, you know, the moment he needed, and hopefully that puts a little bit of wind under his sails there, gets him going a little bit more. We haven't seen too much from T90, if I'm being honest. I've seen him in the kill feed, unfortunately receiving a death, but not too much
that's probably what happens because he spent too long drinking with us.
Yeah, so that is true. Hopefully, we'll be able to see something come of him with this overclock in this next fight.
Indeed. I mean, you've got the Queen Shout and the Lucio speed to enable. He goes for a pretty passive swing fire, sitting on healing. The Rampage ginormous. The sound barrier there in time, however. Ash down to Unknown. Azo trying to get more involved with a later beat from Purple, but it simply doesn't find the value that they were looking for. Kitsune rushing out too. Gonna force the Blue Junker Queen all the way back, and the wall from spawn from Ash simply not enough. Matt's another double kill. Something we've been saying plenty. T90 a late kill onto Purple, so his name at least is in the kill feed, and the first cap here for Abate.
He did find a double in the end, cleaning up a little bit, so that it was nice to see him do a little bit more for his team there. But you know, I mean, really, really good ults being used there. We saw both Kitsunes get dumped. The Carnage came out, or sorry, the Rampage from Azo came out, matched with Fire's beat. It was a very, very clean fight from the side of Abercrazy. They just, you know, they countered it all really, really well. It was looking clean.
Indeed. Point actually flipped purely by the Kitsune rush. Their Elder, however, goes down to the shooting from Ensam. That Kunai pretty threatening. So Evil Jonker able to get more than a couple points of percentage. Rampage only connects onto Azo, but that does mean that the tank has to back off all the way. A boop, perhaps, onto Ash, and another fight for Crazy Raccoon. They are indomitable in this Queen comp.
I said they tried to stagger Azo there, but you know, I'm taking a little bit of a pacifist role there and not ending Azo's life. But got an alright stagger, I'd say. But it's just been very, very clean from Abercrazy Raccoon. We saw Ensam have some really, really nice kunes there, putting a lot of pressure onto Evil Jonkler and not allowing them to do too much. But for Evil Jonkler, I mean, they've almost got the Rampage back. Maybe you could do some zoning with this Deadeye coming in here for this fight. If they can touch.
That overtime at least will get started. Azo close to the Rampage, has to be trying to build towards it off the opposing tank. T90E, a great opening kill onto Purple. 80% of the beat. That was one of the main tools that Edinburgh would have had. The Purple onto Mats does turn the tide someone. Elder taken care of, unknown. Means that Evil Junker still have a chance, but the HP quickly depleting. Cleanse and Shout both use to keep Azo in the fight. Ash absolutely evaporated by the T90E. Purple, not much longer for this world as she desperately hides from the Sojourn, just controlling so much space. Such a strong disruptor shot as well. But it seems like Evil Junker have been able to establish here the Abate respawns. Could be back at any moment. And just again scraps the plate.
We saw some really big plays from Azo there. He was just playing on point the entire time, and they just couldn't do much to get him away from the point, and they just had to give it up. He was too much of a threat, and they just couldn't. They couldn't give up too many lives on that.
Pressure onto Elder, who's being booped and railed, to put it simply. Obliterated from the other side of the map. 5v3, now 2 here, and it seems like this is going to be another flashpoint in favor of Abate. They are looking so good.
Fire has been getting some really, really good calls and like into the dives here. Like we've seen him in the kill feed a couple times now to, you know, create some good opening picks along with T90E. They've had some really, really strong starts to the fights, and they've been able to stay in it most of the time throughout all of these fights, it seems. Very good calling from Fire. Very good shooting.
Purple low, Amp will keep her up. Azo able to keep a strong angle in comparison with Ash, just able to somewhat sandwich Abate, but they will be able to escape. Azo now the one sandwiched in between Mats, and feels like the rest of Abate. Low HP though, and goes down to the melee combined with the bleed. 300 HP, and with the Kitsu on the cut, there's not much that Abate can do but back all the way out.
Yeah, very strong, very quick fight from Evil Jonkler there. You know, you dump the Kitsune, you kind of hope that it's going to be a very short fight. You know, just kind of blow up as many people as you can in the time that Kitsune is up. So they took the point quite quickly as it's unlocked and are building up a good charge already.
Indeed. Could go all the way to 5 here. Great mag onto Unknown to force the recall. Ash doesn't have one to use himself, so the pressure really was on. And in the mean fight, Evil Jonkler wipe out their opposition.
I honestly couldn't follow too much what was going on there. It just seemed that the kill feed just lit up almost within a second with all the Abercrazy Raccoon players. But yeah, I mean, there was just some good shots from Elder, I think, there. Very, very strong fight.
Indeed. Ash being involved in the Trace 1v1 so far. Mats with the Rampage connects onto Purple, who dies at 91% of the sound barrier. Never what you really want to see, but with Elder falling as well. Evil Jonkler, unfortunately, fall right before the finish line. Could have had the flashpoint, but instead it's Abercrazy Raccoon who have their third and what could be final point.
Yeah. I mean, they seem to do well under these pressure situations where it's 99. They just kind of take the point back and take it for themselves. But we've seen a couple ults in there for the Abercrazy Raccoon. Unfortunately, they're at an ult disadvantage for the next little while. Full ult line for Jonkler here.
Oh, Fire's insta-dead. The Deadeye of Elder finds humongous value, and the Flash as well means that the backline gets dispatched by just the hit scan player, T19, a trade. But more than that going to be needed if they're going to keep this fight up. Ash as well goes down to unknown, but low HP for T90 means the Elder can find the chase down. The heat-seeking missile on the cast and a 3-piece from the hit scan makes this 2-2.
Very big shots from Elder there. Obviously the big opening pick onto the Fire there with the Deadeye, and then hit some really nice shots. And T9E was just really out of position, no supports there. He just had to unfortunately fall to Elder, and for Elder's 3k that fight.
Oh, Azo low already. Rampage, though, could be a pretty quick turn, especially as Fire doesn't have that sound barrier just yet. Oh, it's Bully on to Mats. The Rampage through just in time. Fire goes down 97% to beat again. So close, but no Cigar, and Evil Jonkler able to establish first.
Yeah, a very big Rampage there from Azo. I think he hit at least 3. It looked like there was a good few that he hit there. Just, you know, Rampage is such a strong ult. It's such a demanding, and as you said, Fire was unfortunately fell before his beat could come back up. Overclock is brought out from T9E here. He just fell down.
Yeah, seems like it. 2 for 1 so far. Obviously, you take that trade most days of the week. Elder has been doing bits, actually. Super impressed by what I'm seeing from this Cassidy. Matt's really trying to finish him off, and eventually the Scrap Grunt will connect. Ash, the only player stalling the point for a hot second, and will be dispatched. Unfortunate for Sensei as he TPs straight into a Junker Queen Axe. And it looks like about the 60% part that Evil Jonkler are going to get to. Crazy Raccoon now in control.
I did see Fire die to Herbal's boop there. Lucio did.
Yeah.
But I mean, a couple missed shots from Mats on that Tracer there. But I mean, can you blame him? But still, ended up going Crazy's way anyways. So we can complain.
Getsu in aggression high. Azo maybe slightly lower. Sensei and Ensam traded simultaneously. So both teams still playing the mirror. That pulse bomb thrown to the wayside and Unknown taking care of Azo means that the aggression did work out for Crazy Raccoon. Able to eclipse their opponent's lead, looking at a 1-fight territory now, and as long as their Kyria will be back in time, they could close out Atlas on this final point.
We have a lot of ults from the side of Crazy Raccoon in this upcoming last fight here. Evil Jonkler are building the sound barrier here, and so is Kitsune, but this fight is looking potentially the way of Crazy Raccoon with the way the ults are looking. Lots of ults being dispensed here.
Indeed. Ensam and Fire, it's the backline who find a double opener. The sound barrier is going to quickly expire, and so too will Elder's life. Only Ash on the point. What can a Tracer really do? Appears not much yet. 99 to 58, 3-2. Crazy Raccoon able to squeak the win against their Scottish compatriots there on our very first map.
Yeah, it'll be a very fun map to watch there. Lots of very scrappy, very brawly fights coming out from both sides. Ult usage was very good. Lots of counter ults, you know, mirrored ults as well. Very fun to watch. Elder as well was hitting some really nice shots. There was a Sensei at the start as well. Had some really good big plays to open up a lot of fights there. But I mean, Elder was consistent throughout. Lots of shots, lots of multi kills there. Good use of Deadeye a lot. And you know, you can talk about Azo all day. I feel that guy is, you know,
he's kind of okay at the game.
he's all right. You know, I mean, not my guy, you know, that's up for discussion.
Yeah, I mean, I was probably most impressed by Elder, and even though obviously they lost the map, but a player who I think does sometimes get ignored somewhat in discussions about why Edinburgh are or aren't good. And I think what we're seeing from the Cassidy was pretty explosive, right? I feel like it was in general, a stronger performance than T90E, at least in that map. Just unfortunate that it didn't end up going their way, but that game realistically on a nice edge going that close, that far.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, it was a very tight match. Lots of like little bits of everything for both teams, really. Elder, as you said, lots of good shots, lots of good plays, and you know he does get outshone by a lot of the other players on his team there. I mean, Azo being one of them, but you know, for both players on those team, Azo and Elder, you know, deserve respect. Both are just very good. Crazy Raccoon, lots of good players there as well. So, Fire is one of them. Fire, big Lucio. And Matt's had a good time in the junk Green Mirror as well.
Mm. We'll say as we head towards Dorado, this seems like a pretty clear idea to get Fire on Brigitte. Lucio's no good here. Fire's no good at break. I think it's a fair assessment. Maybe he'll try and defend that, but just put the Lucio fries in the bag, man.
Yeah.
Break out for purple. She's a bit more comfortable on it. Pretty standard dive comp here. The only, I guess, weird variation is the lack of hit scan, which makes sense. No Soj.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking like, it's a very, clean dive comp here for Jonkler on defense. The defense dive comp is very fair, I'd say. I like it. I love watching a good defense dive comp. But I mean, Crazy Raccoon, we're seeing T90 on the Freya here. Hopefully gets a little bit more value on the Danish, the Dane rather than the Sojourn.
I mean, so if you've got no Soj, then Freya works well enough, right? As the hit scan who can access the high ground the second most. Versus the D.Va, obviously, it's a bit of an awkward matchup for Azo. He's mostly going to be jumping for space, using the threat of the Tase to find value. Unknown, an instant win on the Tracer 1v1, though, means that Edinburgh down in the fight. Gonna have to figure out a way to keep this cart stopped for as long as possible, and nade onto Mats appears to be the method. Who will be forced to wait for he's stable before he goes back in, keeps that payload rolling. And closer and closer to the Arch now, but with Unknown falling to Elder, it's a lot easier for Evil Jungler to push in. The numbers replenished. Low HP on T9EE, who will eventually be dispatched. Matt's just going to force the bot as far as he can before eventually trying to back out or trying to leave this plane.
Yeah, he was able to get out there in the end. I wasn't too sure if he was going to get chased down or not, but he did get it. He did get out in the end. But a decent first push. We hit that opening pick from Unknown there very, very quickly. Left Evil Jungler having to just kind of like play around that they're in a 4v5 there. And lack of DPS, it's not as much damage they can see out. But Sensei does find the Unknown pick quite quickly as well in this fight.
Big one, Divined. Tracer so important on this map, especially when you're playing with a hit scan. It's not really anybody else who can effectively pressure cart, pressure high ground in the exact same way. Great nade onto Mats, but only having the Winston trying to follow up with that Tesla cannon, your chance of an elimination relatively low. So, Unknown back in the fight. Spam not connecting. Ash, recall is awkward. He's going to feel like he's under pressure. Flew into and taken care of by a Mats melee. Elder as well in altogether too deep. Unknown the one to find that final blow. The Purple gets a trade onto Fire. Azo gets one onto Ensam. Maybe there is a conversation actually. Ensam Azo rather finds like 3 in that fight, and a Primal Rage to boot means he can keep fighting for as long as he wants. DMEC means that there's going to be a nuke reset. Azo able to LOS the bomb, but does eat the damage from the remech. Still doing a much better job in the damage trade than his opposite number. So backs out. It's a little bit of extra sustain before he decides to re-engage into the Kitsune Rush. One has to imagine that is a poor idea. Low HP already, the bubble forced out. Azo having the screws put to him. The boulder shot as well means that there is no Sensei. There is, however, a blade from Elder that finds absolutely Jack. Azo won, only that. And it feels like it's just Purple left on the point.
Yeah, I mean, the earlier fight with Azo there, it was it just seemed like it was going the way of Crazy Raccoon, but Azo was able to kind of keep himself up and sustain and find a lot of picks there, but he couldn't do too much else there. He just kind of ended up getting, putting him straight back into a fight, and he couldn't find much more value than evening out the fight, and unfortunately it just stayed even, and Crazy Raccoon ended up getting the respawns back and pushing the point is all the way up until capping first point there.
I mean, being able to establish higher on the high ground already makes it so much easier when you're attacking. Azo, low HP, essentially negative. Nade is nice from Sensei, but no chance to follow up. Somewhat negates its value. A nuke reset. It's a resource forced out early, and some high ground control being allowed to be taken, but it's nothing crazy in the pre-fight, right? Have a Crazy Raccoon, I assume, looking for an opportunity to use the portal. Fire already with that sound barrier. Ensam close to that Kitsune Rush. It's a beat engage and a dead Sensei. Now the boost from Azo tries to find what it can, but simply doesn't have that raw damage available. Crazy Raccoon might have just won the fight with that, but they want to continue with the Kitsune Rush and with a kill into Purple as well. Seems like they got it.
Yeah, they just had to reset off of that. You know, you can see Azo was kind of already backing off quite early onto the fight there. It was a losing fight. You just couldn't keep that going. You had to keep your tank up and not get a stagger too hard.
Oh.
Unknown does find a pulse really early on to Sensei there. Very nice pulse bomb there from the Crazy Raccoon Tracer.
Indeed.
The Kappa
No
doesn't get
HP
touch there though.
onto Mats, who has to back up for a second. The point not able to be stalled. Elder absolutely folded by Ensam. So 3.5 minute time, very healthy heading into the final stage of this map. Evil Junkler, however, do have a huge ult bank.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, Evil Junkler couldn't get a touch there into the end, and that's our last point. They just had to give it up, and now Crazy Raccoon are very, very far into the, very far into time. They've got a lot of time to cap this last point here. Mats is close to bomb here. Very nice.
Really like this from Azo. Great tase on the backline. Elder actually with the blade, the one to deal some of these final blows. The most useless primal of all time from Azo. I'ma keep it a buck with you. Ewan, what are you on? Why did you do this?
Honestly, Aura. Very big stagger coming out there, though. It's as expected, though. It was just a very, very nice dive into the backline there from Azo there. He saw the opportunity, he took it, and it was really, really big value. Is brought very weak. He has to just kind of come back to his backline here and play it a little bit more safe.
I mean, finding the sandwich in between the rest of his team and himself really just forced them into a high pressure environment, one they couldn't quite survive in. Bubble isolates Mats from the rest of his team, but he's going to be feeling relatively safe with that self-destruct that we expect to see popped about now. Again, resource out Mats actually dies the pulse bomb of Ash. Unknown trades it back with a blink melee into Elder. Backline pressure, fantastic, but Unknown continues to open up the pedal. A pulse bomb on to the Brigitte. Lovely to have. Ash trades it back. Azo doing the Lord's work on the Winston. This time the Nano Boost finds a little bit more. Almost a 3-piece, but Sensei steals it away, and it's Evil Junkler still the ones in control.
Yeah, it was a very good trade of pulses there as well. Ash found the good time when the pulse against Mats there, and then Unknown sends back his own pulse and found a pick on the Evil Junkler side. But the Nano Monkey there was, absolutely huge. Just so much damage in that tase. Just, there's not much you can do. It's just so
90
much
DPS per target.
It's crazy.
On the corner is Azo trying to finish off this Primal Rage. Sound barrier from Fire only connects onto 3. Not quite sure about that one. Still, everybody's still living, so you can't be too mad about it. Fire, where are you going, boss? Running back and forth, eventually flees to his side of the map. Ensam doesn't have that same privilege. Goes down to the taser of Azo with T90 falling. This might be a cancel. Crazy Raccoon quickly losing time.
Fire is chased all the way back to his spawn there, and he does get away, thankfully, but Unknown pops a recall back into where he was, but no, he gets out as well. They both got out. But, they've got 4 seconds left on the clock, and we've got Rally and Primal Rage. Pulse Bomb's charging up really quickly as well. The only thing Crazy Raccoon really have going for them this fight is a Pulse Bomb, potentially the Kit Rush, but we see the Primal popped already, and Unknown has his Pulse Bomb, but I don't see how much value he can get from this in this fight. So it's looking like it's going to be a strong Junkler hold this time around.
One has to imagine so. Crazy Raccoon going to need really just the Ensam Kitsune rush if they want to try and change things around. An Nano Boost sent straight in. Cleanse out already. T90 able to find enough separation to be relatively safe. Can the backline save the same? Ensam down to low HP. Ash the one to find that final blow. Is there even another touch? It seems like there is, but for how long is Purple's getting involved on the Brigitte? Like I mentioned, here she can play that Fire can't, and because of that, we find the stop. Second point, 65 meters, not too bad at all for Crazy Raccoon, but Evil Junkler put their foot down.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Nano Monkey came out in the end, straight into the back line, and the Lucio heals cannot sustain that damage in the slightest, so they just had to back off, and it just kind of left Ensam very, very deep in, and Crazy Raccoon couldn't. They were very, very split in that fight, and that was just really, really good. A defense side from Junkler there. It's just the Azo diving is just so strong, and especially with that Nano, there's just really nothing that Crazy Raccoon can do to yeah, compete against that. It's just a diff all around.
I mess with that though.
Mm.
I feel like we haven't been seeing that much from T90 in this series still.
No, really
Like I
not.
feel,
Like a couple picks here and there, but nothing big.
yeah, you kind of expect more because he can actually have high impact. I'm told.
Mm. Yeah, totally. Sorry.
Well, you know, every time you play, we're on like Ryan Bastion, so.
Yeah. But I mean, we've seen him use Bola a couple times, but there wasn't too much value found. Especially there was one fight that Matt's got split off from his team because of the Winston bubble, and the Bola went really deep, and Matt just couldn't find too much value off of it, especially with that Winston diving in and cutting him off from the rest of his team. So all around, it's just really good gameplay from Jonkler, almost countering everything that Abercrazy Raccoon did in that last fight.
Have to wait and see. Azo tries to establish on the high ground the micro missiles on Mats. Enough to guard it for now. Bubble committed does mean very little, actually. Eventually, Azo will drop it. The cart will be able to round the corner at the very least. Seems like a lot of the idea here is making it so Mats can't free shoot down from the high ground, as indeed he's doing now. Azo, Purple both drop incredibly low, but the lack of an aggressive tracer means that there's no one to follow up on these frags. T98 trying to manufacture a pick. So far, they're just slamming bolts into the Brigitte shield. Good shot, though, into the Genji. Elder tries to keep himself alive as the Sensei. It seems like both will manage it.
Yeah, we saw a really good, you know, a couple shots there onto Elder, but unfortunately was able to back away and, you know, get some help backline. So not too much value found. T90E does find a couple shots onto Brigitte as per usual, but, you know, doesn't find too much value in the form of a kill there. Sensei does seem to live there. Still really not much value here from T90E.
Yeah, it's not a bad angle from him, but a little bit too married to it, which is why A's are able to find this double kill.
Yeah.
Unknown and Matt's dispatched as well, and very easy for Evil Jonkler. A walk in the park as they take first.
Yeah, very like clean fight there. They were able to just, I mean, as you said, he was almost T90E was almost married to that position there. He just wasn't leaving it. Was unfortunately pushed back and just had no support because of how long he was up there for. So he just couldn't help too much and fell to the diving Winston as we saw there.
Indeed. Have a crazy raccoon though, because they lost that fight so far back, are able to take this high ground first. So Evil Jonkler have an uphill battle, quite literally, as they try and take the high ground, rally in. And Sensei actually dies the pulse bomb of Unknown. Purple, 9 now, 1 HP as she tries to get away, unable to do so. Perfect fight for Apple Crazy Raccoon, but there's more work left to do. Azo, always a threat, until he's in the spawn room.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very clean high ground fight there. Azo did also up to the high ground, but was knocked off almost immediately, which left there not being too much defense there for Purple, and as they got, you know, as we saw, they got very weak and just had to fall off and did unfortunately fall in the end. So it was a very strong high ground fight from Abercrazy Raccoon there.
Indeed, so much damage thrown into Azo so far, and Nano Blade out from Elder, but Fire's able to connect the beat in time, and the boulder shot taking care of Purple means that Abercrazy Raccoon may be a lead in this fight. Azo still a trade onto Unknown with the Primal Rage, not something you see every day. T90E though, finding another kill onto Sensei. Does mean that Shooter, that's all the pep taken out to Evil Jonkler's step.
Yeah, I mean, again, T90 did find a couple picks there as well, finally. So we were able to see a little bit of a stronger defense there. Matt's got the nuke reset, so even though he was DMA'd from Elder there, he was able to just get right back in and not be too out of position for too long.
Now the Diva Mirror. Obviously, Sensei making the swap over to the Kiriko as well. See if this finds enough value for Evil Jonkler that they're able to keep this push going, or whether Abercrazy Raccoon, their defense will continue. So far, mostly Unknown, stalling the point. Where in God's name is Mats? Trades with the Pulse Bomb, get a mecha and a Brig kill, and he, in the baby form, he kills Sensei?
Yeah, I was just gonna mention that. Somehow found a melee kill as Baby Diva. He's still up on the high ground, just kind of chilling. So is Azo in baby form. If they... Okay, alright. Fair enough. I mean, the Baby Diva is clearly just the best character in the game, I think.
I think that's all we can really decide after watching that fight. That was a weird one.
Yeah.
I see that every day.
It's a very, very, very deep push from Mats, and it's somehow worked. I have no idea how he was kept up for so long in baby form there. So honestly, I have to give full respect to Abercrazy Raccoon in that fight.
Oh, I know it's low, really low actually. You gotta be stable and with no break to heal you up. It's gonna be, I believe, an amped from Fire to keep him active. Recall out still, and a good angle from Ash means that this is one Tracer player who's gonna feel pretty uncomfortable. Waiting for an ultimate to be released more than anything else. Enstam looking for a line, drops it into the back line, but not quite sure what the target is. Trying to take care of a Sensei, but both Kiris missing their Kitsus. Or their Kunais, got there in the end. Too many Ks. Mats able to get another melee on Sensei, this time actually using the mech. Bomb takes care of Ash. And now just a minute and a half left in the time bank.
It's looking like a very, very strong defense from Abercrazy Raccoon this time around. They seem to be a lot more comfortable on the second point than the first point. And Matson has been having a really good time on the D.Va here on this point, and we saw Ensam with that. Yeah, that's somewhat questionable, Kitsune, but was able to back up and ended up surviving, and they cleaned up and stalled the Jonkler bush.
Sound barrier through. Abercrazy Raccoon have to get a pick during its duration, otherwise Elder's Blade is going to be the only thing they're ever worrying about. Fire down already. Mats popped out of mech to boot, and the beat engagement feels like really blew up in Abercrazy Raccoon's face here.
Yeah, they seem to be very split here as well. Mats was very, very far in, and you can see it when Elder turned around. There was, I think, one player in bank and then one player in main. It's just a very, very split fight, and they kind of have to just reset off that and kind of get away. Unknown does come in for a touch here, but won't survive for too long. Just get the recall out and survives.
Indeed. I mean, 2 meters, all the wiggle room that they got to play with. Self-destruct on the point. Means that Fire does go down to the shield bash from Purple. The whip takes care of the Baby D.Va as well, and that is going to be a cap. Ash maybe even gets his late kill.
There we go. That's the cap. Unknown seemed to be stalling that point for a long while, but unfortunately did fall in the end, and there wasn't too much there wasn't too much of a backline there from Abercrazy Raccoon to sustain the stall, but they've got a minute left to push it another 40 meters or so. So hopefully we should see a very, very competitive last fight here. Our last couple fights, I should say.
Indeed. Ash losing his crosshair placement a little bit in his Tracer duel. He's going to have to back out. Unknown, a significant advantage in this match. He's playing so bloody aggro. Rally on the point to allow them to walk through the Kitsune rush, but it won't last forever. Neither with the health of Purple nor her shield or Pulse and the whip. Onto the Baby D.Va is going to be Mats. Has the nuclear mech, but Elder somehow goes down to it. It's a bit weird. Matrix used aggressively to keep that Freya alive. And Ash, not long for this. Well, it's a whole down. 30 seconds left to go. A late pick here would mean Abercrazy Raccoon takes the series.
Yeah, I mean, we've only got 20 seconds left here, and Jonkler are having to reset. They've got one last fight in them. They have Newt coming in from Azo, and they've got Kit Rush. The Blade is coming back, but I'm not too sure on how, if he's going to be, if Elder's going to be able to recharge it in the last 10 seconds. I mean, this is looking to be an Abercrazy Raccoon win here, unless Jonkler can pull out a very, very strong last fight. Kit Rush is deployed here. Purple is looking for something.
Obviously, no response from Abercrazy Raccoon just yet, trying to play their lives, maintain resources as much as is humanly possible. Matt's losing a lot of HP, though, and there's no sound barrier yet from Fire, which means that the Blade from Elder could be absolutely everything. 1 down, 2 to boot. The Blade of Elder does everything it needs to. And that's tied 1-1 here.
Yeah, that was a very, very nice last fight there. There was unfortunately, just as you said, no beat from to counteract that Blade, and Mash just got truly just got absolutely shredded down to his last bit's HP, and they just could not do too much to keep him up. No beat. The Blade came through, so it was just not too much there. The ult advantage for Jonkler was a lot better.
They would have to really play to do it, and unfortunately weren't able to. I feel like once you get that late kill into Purple on the break, you probably just want to spawn hold more than anything else. Is your best bet, with the hindsight. Because you don't really have a chance to get the extra 20% you need on your beat on your... I believe they were close to Bowler as well, but That ends up not manifesting. We have to go to a map number 3 to decide.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, there was very much a lack of aggression from the Abercrazy Raccoon side. So they should have pushed a little bit. I feel like they should have pushed a lot further instead of just playing on point to try and stall Jonkler a lot more. Um, but yeah, as you said, should have been a lot more aggression from Abercrazy Raccoon. They just kind of played a bit too passive, and that allowed Jonkler to kind of build up a little bit more momentum coming into that last fight. And as we saw, the blade come through, and they just had a lot of fun in that last fight. That's a very nice blade.
Indeed. I mean, I got no idea what you do now. I feel like we've seen now the advantages, the disadvantages, the strengths and weaknesses of these two teams. They decided to end on Li Shang, though, with a Lucio ban. Obviously, first ban of Abate. Lucio ban, again, purple target ban. I assume this is intending to play on the fact that Fire's been playing a good amount of Wu Yang recently. Purple, as far as I'm aware, hasn't to the same extent. And then the Reaper ban is more generally double flex with Reaper isn't something either team wants to get too mucked up in. It's just annoying for the tanks to deal with, and the tanks have been the real driving forces today. So that's my gut feeling at the very least.
Yeah, and then we as you were saying, we do see the Fire Wu Yang out here. Has been doing a lot of Wu Yang grinding in the comp over the past recent weeks. So hopefully we should see a good good Wu Yang diff here. I hope. Otherwise, Fire's reputation might crumble a little bit if he doesn't play too well.
See how things work out. Again, it's Ashe on the Symmetra, something we've seen before and something we're very likely to see again, though maybe not in this game. Zarya Mirror has an answer pretty quick. Matt's absolutely evaporated. A's a 90 charge already and just microwaving Abercrazy Raccoon. They're back in spawn before the point even unlocks.
Yeah, that was an exceptionally quick fight. I have no idea how Azo got so much charge in such little time there, but I feel like that might have just been a bit of a misplay from Abercrazy Raccoon in that first fight there. Just allowed Azo to just push through and to kind of do whatever he wants to Abercrazy Raccoon. They're giving him too much power. Possibly. Sensei now dead. Ensam able to get the better of his opposite number, and suddenly the shoe's on the other foot, right? It go from an early opening pick into an evil Jonkler cap to one back the other way for Abate. Only 16% accrued and all said and done. But the fight is maybe continuing. Cleanse out, both bubbles expended from the Zarya. The beam so close to taking care of Elder, but he'll be able to escape and stable momentarily. Already a lead now for Abercrazy Raccoon, but the TP, the turret, in fact, able to take care of T90E. That is a bit crazy, and Matt's as well dispatched, so great pick. What it gets you is 26%. Yeah. I think the T90E falling to the turrets there, I think Elder was just kind of, touching up on T90E a little bit, so I think he just couldn't do too much, and the turrets were just there in the end, and that's unfortunately what he fell to. But I mean, we're seeing super strong fights from Evil Jonkler as per usual. I mean, this is a very tight-knit team. Everyone's so good on this team. Azo
what a grab! Humongous, and the bubble to boot just wipes them out. Evil Jonkler, humongous graviton surge means they can hold for even longer.
Yeah, that Wu Yang ult as well, just really ensuring that grab got as much value as possible. Just very clean. Let him push up, get that grab out. Get that Wu Yang out as well. It was very nice. And we have a grab coming up for Abercrazy Raccoon, so hopefully we'll be able to see a response with that.
Oh,
but
okay.
Very big pick there.
We spent so much of that game saying we weren't seeing enough picks from T9C, but he's able to open up the fight at least. The blade from Elder forced out. Azo dispatched as well, so the Zarya energy reset even if nothing else happens. And Unknown and then Sam still very capable of forcing a fight win. Elder not really connecting the one shot, dropping low, but the healing is there from his own Wu Yang. Abercrazy Raccoon, though, in control of the point, can play a lot more passively for the moment. Unknown just obliterated by a water balloon from Purple, and Kitsune Rush from Sensei finds pretty low value. In the whole, Abercrazy Raccoon going to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it might have been a little bit of a misplay on that Kitsune rush. There wasn't much on the outside of Evercase.
Wait, we're pushing back in. Overclock active. Graviton Surge popped as well. That means T90E does not even have to aim, really. Elder already taken care of. Mats is traded, to be fair, but Ash is low HP. And Purple is also dead. Flip will be found, albeit at 99%.
Still contesting here on the side of Abercrazy Raccoon as well, so they're still being able to push it into the overtime, but Azo is still Thanos on point. He cannot let this guy stay here for too much longer. And the grab comes out, that's it. The grab comes out, secures the deal, and that is the first point going the way of Jonkler. Evil Jonkler.
That implies the existence of a good Jonkler.
I would like to think so, but I'm not too sure if there will be.
Who would the good Jonkler be? The evils have been jonkled. Wow.
Thank you.
That's a Lowell thing to say.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say about that comment.
But nah, I wonder if there is a good Jonkler. Who would it be? That's a good question. That's a very, very good question.
We'll have to think about that one. We'll have to properly have a meeting of the minds.
Yeah, I think we can go meeting after this and talk about it.
Frag got places to be.
My bad.
Have a crazy raccoon. Essentially the same. Comp unknown on the Venture rather than the Tracer, however. Evil Jonkler. Side that the Zarya is no bueno for whatever reason. It's Azo on the Queen and unknown in the spawn room. Instantly taken down by a dash from Elder. Looking for a little bit more. So far losing a lot of HP. But other than that, mostly okay. Got cooldowns for days. Elder and Ash both full actually. As Matt just walks in full beaming and wipes out the remaining members.
Mats was given so much charge there, and he just kind of kept, it kept his beam on, and the Arista just couldn't handle too much of it. Had to back away for a little minute, came back in, but Mats just was able to kind of, beam as many people and Evil Jonkler as he could down. And I mean, that's just what you get with fully charged Zarya is just way too much damage.
It's kind of busted. It's kind of not fair.
Not really.
I mean, how do you see hard shooting the walk right now? The Terra Surge going to be used more than anything else just to survive. Graviton Surge pops on the TP. That means they can all flip away from it. Humongous from Ash. A bit of a misplay from Mats, who sends it so close to that ability. Still, though, the fight's not over. The bubble has to be invested onto Azo to keep him alive, and even that won't last much longer. It's all pink in the kill feed as Evil Jonkler once more dispatched.
Elder resets there. Yeah, that TP play from Ash there was very, very nice. Was it a misplay from Mats there, or was that a very good TP from Ash?
The TP was there first.
You think? I think the TP came up Ash, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
Oh, but an overclock.
Opening pick though.
Yeah, straight down the Kitsune rush, taking all the pep out of Sensei's step. Damage enough as well onto Ash so Mats can find the final blows. And it's always Mats, it feels like. Elder, a lovely exit. A one shot onto T90E, but it don't matter in the end, right? As it's now 85% Abercrazy Raccoons still the ones in control.
Mats has been very, very big this point here. He has just been beaming literally everybody down. You saw that he was on a 10-player kill streak. He is just... I feel like this is his point, This isn't anybody else's point. This is Mats' point.
Yeah. And Sam, unknown, both full simultaneously. Elder picks that moment to pull the Dragon Blade, and it does get the job done, to be fair. Azo, the only fatality.
Very, very clean fight there. Really good opening picks from Ash and Elder there, and the blade came out to just secure it off. Azo did unfortunately fall off the map. Not too sure how that happened, but it obviously didn't cause too many problems as Evil Jonkler did win the fight very convincingly there. We have a couple of ults coming up for Abercrazy Raccoon though, so we should hopefully see a really big fight coming up here, and hopefully a flip onto Abercrazy Raccoon on the point and taking this point hopefully to even it up.
Indeed, just lobbing right clicks in time and time again. That's a proper grab. So chunky. That's the entire fight. Azo, I mean, showing why his name is so respected.
Very much so. That was a really, really nice gameplay, though. That was just honestly beautiful to watch. However, Abercrazy Raccoon does still have a, 2 ults there. They did expend Kit Rush in that fight, and of course, they didn't find too much value because of how big that grab was. But hopefully, we'll be able to see a grab respawns from the side of Abercrazy Raccoon here. It should be coming up anytime now. We have the Wu Yang ult as well, so here goes both
Indeed,
ults.
Kerbal, a double kill
Ooh.
from the back line. Pulse connects on to Ash, but will it be enough? 99.99. It's just unknown, really, who's raging against the dying of the light. And eventually, even he's going to lose it. 99.99 here, but in the end of the day, it's Evil Joker who were able to take this series. And I gotta say, that was a banger.
That was a very good last series as well, because I mean, right at the end there as well, as I was saying that the Abercrazy Raccoon had so many like ults coming up and the potential for such a big fight, but the defensive response from Evil Junkler there was genuinely impressive. They expended Wu Yang ult and the Grav, and Evil Junkler just kind of took it and roll with it. Abby finding Purple finding 2 picks there. I think it was both supports maybe. I wasn't too sure on that. I know it was one of the sports, but it was very, very good defensive gameplay from Evil Jonkler there. Very respectable.
Super impressed by what they've brought to the table here. And both teams, I think, are going to be ones to watch out for in playoffs. If you run into these and you're a Div 1 team, I mean, you can count on one hand the teams who are going to be feeling confident about it. I'll put it that way. So, really enjoying by what we see from both these sides. But that is going to be everything for our stream today. Firstly, obviously, make sure you tune into our stream on Sunday during the regular split of games. I kind of like replay code wipe is going to make doing another replay stream kind of awkward, but we'll figure it out. We also have a credits page. So absolutely thanks to everybody who put this production together. Of course, me and Kira have been casting. KPJ on the observation, and Zook Foodle and Luau being the wonderful producers, making everything work. Unfortunately, it's not easy to run broadcast, so we're very lucky that we have a skilled group of people who can make these things happen. But that's everything from us. So, Kia, unless you got anything else left to say, we'll
yeah, I was gonna quickly just say, like, a big thanks to USS. This is my first time casting. Might not have been that good. I'm gonna say that right now. But I like a really big thanks to everyone who gave me the opportunity to do it, and especially for how easy it was to get into it as well. Really big thanks to everyone for making it so easy, and I hope I wasn't too bad.
I think for your first time, I think you did pretty bloody well.
Hope so.
Here's to many more in the future, hopefully. But yeah, thanks so much for tuning in. Again, make sure you watch on Sunday because that is going to be the final week of Swiss before playoffs. But from everyone here at USS, we shall bid you all adieu.